Good morning, Hallowed Haven family. This is After Dawn, the show where we sit down to have a cup of coffee with the cast, crew, and creators behind the Hallowed Haven Studios productions. I'm Sol, and I'm joined by my co-host, Cyan.
Yes, hello, I'm Cyan, and today we're talking about Chill, The Office, Episode 4, Containment Breach. This episode, there was a lockdown, puzzles, zombies, and maybe a possessed boss. Honestly, I thought this episode was super entertaining, but my opinion is not the only one here. What are your thoughts, Sol?
I also really liked it. I felt that it was really nice to sort of get a different vibe from the show than what we had before, because there were some creepy things going on and little hints of the unknown and what the party was going to do about it, but now things were kicking off way harder and I actually got to see the party in combat. We got to see them working on solving puzzles and dealing with the unknown, and we also got to see Kayla's unknown ability, which made me really happy. And I'm also not the only one whose opinion matters here, so let us welcome one of our wonderful players, Jade, who plays Kayla, and our recurring SPC friend, Legacy, who plays... What's the intern's name again?
The Intern.
The Intern, of course. Hello, both of you.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome back to the show. You've been on the show before, of course. You know how it works. But for those of you who have decided to tune in for the first time, we start the show by percolating a bit with questions to our lovely guests about themselves. We drink our cups of coffee while discussing the events of the episode and the show as a whole, and more about the characters. And then we get to spilling the tea with questions from the chat, the fans, other players, and opening the floor for myself and Cyan to take questions. Let's start percolating with a question to Legacy, who's a bit of a veteran SPC for HHS at this point, as well as being a story runner and a player in various projects. What's it like being an SPC for a show like this as opposed to being a player or a GM?
Well, it's really funny. So I guess this is my first time playing a questionable, maybe bad guy, maybe ally. Fun thing is that nobody really knows what I've got going on. But getting to actually play the very unknown, even in name, to the players it's fun. It's a new challenge that I get to take on. You know, I've played a little bit of, I guess at this point, SPC wise, I've played a little bit of everything from group allies to moms to now who knows what. So it's been a lot of fun. You know, I get to sit and listen in on the sessions because I'm there at least for a little bit every week, with the exception of not this past episode but the episode before. So getting to see the group dynamic form right in front of me, then getting to kind of like play around with it has been nothing short of a blast.
Wonderful to hear. Love to hear people having a great time. Jade, first off, I would like to say welcome back to After Dawn, and welcome back to the game. Everyone's missed having Kayla around for the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, I'm very excited to be back. I was gone for a couple weeks for a theater production I was in, but I'm very happy that I get to be playing Chill again.
Ooh, if I may ask, what theater production was it?
It was a student-written play at my school called And You Are. It kind of was a bit of a hot mess. The script wasn't done until like 2 weeks before the play, but we got through it, so it's fine.
Oh, that sounds like the best kind of result. So what was it like coming back into the game on a very action-packed episode after being gone for so long?
It was actually really great. I was a little bit nervous at first, whenever I was going in, because I was like, well, they've all had a couple more episodes to get to know each other, like kind of have their characters interact and get closer, get more used to it. But then since there was so much going on, I felt like I was really able to use Kayla to like the best of her abilities, and I really felt like I was able to just jump right back in.
Nice, nice. I have a question for Legacy. So, do you enjoy playing a character that the party kind of perceives as a threat? The intern seems to have really gotten under the skin of some of the party members.
Like I said, it's very it's a new almost like dynamic for me. I typically don't play any sort of not like but like I said, not bad guy, but kind of like thorn in the party's side. So it's fun kind of getting to play up that dynamic a little bit more than I'm used to. Um and you know, we all have fun with it. I always encourage them to it, this is both a silly and a in a bit of a horror show. So, like we have fun with it. They give me different little names and everything, but I think that deep down their core they know that probably not someone to mess with, which is both entertaining and worrisome. And I've loved it.
I could like feel the grin when you said that you're not someone to mess with.
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
Nah.
Weren't you talking earlier about cute and a threat? Like,
Who, me?
yeah, you.
Nah.
I have another question, but this time it's for Jade. Uh, this episode had the full gambit of role playing staples, from role play to puzzles to combat. What would you say your favorite part of role playing games are?
I really love the puzzles. I really enjoyed getting to solve the riddle at the beginning. That was so fun. I, of course, also love role play and combat, but puzzles are like definitely always what gets me excited about a game.
Even when they're like meant for third graders and the rest of the party doesn't get them.
Yes, absolutely.
Legacy, same question. What would you say is your favorite part of role playing games?
I enjoy the uncovering of a mystery and kind of slowly like unwrapping, the different clues or the different Easter eggs that are hidden about in like in a scene, kind of letting it all like, you know, you have weeks and weeks of like prep and role playing and trying to gather like hints and trying to kind of like piece together what is going on, and then for it to kind of all fall into place. That's my favorite part of role playing games, is kind of like that aha moment of oh, now shit's about to get real.
That is definitely always a very fun part of games.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I gotta say this, but that's my favorite part too. It's kind of why I like playing investigative type of characters. Just getting that moment of like realizing what's going on and maybe even being able to turn it around on whoever might be causing the problem at hand. That's always fun.
Well, my favorite part is sometimes when you do it unintentionally. You accidentally stumble upon the clue that kind of drags everything together when you weren't necessarily looking for it, and then suddenly a million things start making sense. I've had that happen to me in a couple of different games that I've played in, both in and out of HHS at this point, and it's that piece of the resistance that just kind of like, and then suddenly things that didn't make sense or things that you forgot about are popping back up and suddenly like clearer than ever before, and it's something about that just hits so right.
Fair enough. Legacy, I have another question for you. Could you go into a little bit of details to like what you did to sort of get ready for playing this kind of esoteric, eldritch kind of horror with the intern? Someone that's no one really knows what's going on with them, but everyone feels the threat, feels the sort of dread when they're around.
Um funnily enough, I used to be that intern that nobody remembered the name of. So I just kind of took that experience of like being 17 years old and an intern for the local elementary school, but I hadn't lived in that area for super long, so nobody really knew my name, and they just kept calling me hey miss, could you help me with this this copy machine? And maybe I'm like, I have a name.
I am a person.
I am a person. I have a name. Okay, I'll help you with this copy machine. And funnily enough, like they used to get my name wrong all the time. So when Scott came to me and he was like, "Hey, you want to play this character?" I was like, "Oh, this one's gonna hit home real good." It's but on top of that, like, you know, I as someone who has always been a fan of like reading about things that are unknown to like regular people, you know, a lot of it's like the supernatural or Lovecraftian horrors, stuff like that. When he gave me the part and he told me what exactly it was that I was playing, I instantly knew how I was going to portray her, and instantly knew kind of like where she would fit in all of this. And Scott and I got very hyped for this character.
Mark that in the list of experiences you never thought you'd be able to use again after they happened.
Yeah. Thank God my thank goodness for my younger years prepping me for bigger and better things. Intern.
Very much so. Yeah. So, Jade, what do you think is going on like around the office with like Karen and the intern and the containment breach and one of the Johns acting so strangely all of a sudden?
You know, it's kind of complicated. I don't know exactly what's happening, but I'm enjoying figuring it out. I think it's kind of like, I see it as like an infestation almost of just these creatures getting into the office, finding their way and to try and like take over or something. It's very fun, and I'm very excited to see what's actually happening.
Kind of feels very Invasion of the Body Snatchers to me. Or like
Yeah,
They
it
Live.
does.
Always good time.
Everything just popping off all at once. It's, you know, don't believe in coincidences, but don't trust in them kind of thing. So, Legacy, have you, well, we kind of talked about this already, but what other stuff could you kind of tell us about being an intern in an office setting like the one portrayed here?
Other than, of course, the way that it drains your soul, of course.
Yeah, that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, are we talking within the game setting or within like a real setting? Because I can tell you stories about both.
Ooh.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes,
great.
the
Love
answer is
that.
yes.
So, you know, the big fun part about playing the intern in this game is, you know, she's obviously not just an intern, she's also the owner of the coolest coffee bar in all of, where are they, Colorado? In all of Colorado. You know, and coffee's so good and so quick it just comes right to your office building.
Tasting like rust.
No, her coffee tastes good. It's the office
Okay.
coffee that tastes like rust.
Gee, I wonder why that is.
Not a clue.
Definitely not sabotage of some sort.
Nah. I don't touch it. See, the coffee machine actually goes missing every day. No clue how, but you know.
And Frankie claims to be innocent.
I'm calling
It isn't
bull.
always Frankie. Sometimes it's other people, occasionally.
Yeah, it's just
Oh.
mostly Frankie.
Yeah, it's just mostly Frankie. It's just Frankie enough that no one gets suspicious.
Yeah, it's mostly Frankie. But, sometimes it was Luther last time, so.
That's true.
Fair, very fair. But it just as a subtle reminder to all of the players. She might not be in the scene with you, but don't assume that she's not there.
She's always just right behind us, and we forgot that she was standing there.
Yeah, that's the thing about being the intern is that you may not actually speak all the time, but you are there and you are able to do things without anyone really taking notice.
Yep. It's really fun. I'm not gonna give away all of the juicy deets, but I've gotten to do some really fun stuff in the background with Scott in pertains to what the intern does while the party is out and about and trying to hang together by the thread that they're kind of dangling amongst. So it's fun. It is very fun. It is a rewarding job. I can't wait to put it on my resume.
Get that college credit finally.
Got to get that college credit. How am I ever gonna get my college degree at FREE? That's also no wait that wrong advertisement.
That's the wrong thing. Yeah, a little bit.
Oh well. Listen, I didn't get hired because I'm smart. I got hired because I'll shut up and do the work.
That's fair.
Fair for hiring for any position, really.
Yeah, it's all that's really needed.
Yeah.
Just passing the breath test.
Yeah. Well, I think that we have percolated long enough. I think it's time to get to drinking the cup. So, Legacy. Important question about the intern. We know that they told Frankie that they've been with the office for about 2 years. Is that true? She makes people forget things, so maybe she could make people forget how long she's actually been there.
That's confidential information, sir. I'm
That's
gonna have to
what I
talk to you after
figured.
hours for that.
I had to ask.
We had to, but I didn't have to give you an answer, unfortunately.
You gave me an answer enough of that. Anyway. So moving on to Jade, you mentioned that Kayla has a drawback during the episode that makes her reluctant to injure people. Could you tell us a little bit about that, both mechanically and how it sort of plays into her? Like she has training in fighting, so apparently she's able to fight her. But what makes her so reluctant to actually use it?
So, mechanically, it gives her like a lot of willpower damage if she kills someone that is human or looks human. Also, if she kills something that is an animal or looks like an animal. So she doesn't really like killing things. That's not her vibe. She had like a more office type background. Like she wasn't into anything in the field before she came to save. So I feel like she just isn't really used to seeing a lot of like violence, and she isn't comfortable with a lot of violence happening around her.
It's fair enough. Not everyone has to have some sort of intense trauma as to why they don't want to hurt someone.
I feel like most people don't, typically.
Yeah.
Most people I know don't want to murder people, but, I might be wrong.
Also, Jade, you ended up using your art ability a lot this session and pretty much saved the party from a lot of trouble with negatives from trauma. Were you expecting to get so much use out of your power so quickly?
I was not expecting to get so much use out of my power, but I was very happy that I did. I thought that it was a great chance to, like, kind of show off some of Kayla's abilities, like, kind of give her a little bit of a spotlight for a moment. I really enjoyed getting to try it out, and like I feel like it helped add to the story a lot too.
Yeah. Another question for Legacy. What was the intern up to during the lockdown? Because she didn't appear to be the one who tripped it, but also didn't seem to stay with the group during the lockdown.
Can you tell us anything at all about what she was up to?
You know, the non-classified stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean, like she was definitely about the building, trying to figure stuff out herself. There are things that the intern doesn't know about the office, despite kind of keeping an ear out for what's going on. So I can at least say with some certainty she was definitely wandering around the building, kind of poking her head in and seeing what exactly was going on and why it was happening.
Ooh.
So all mysterious, but not necessarily all knowing.
And not necessarily all malevolent either.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
We love a complicated character here.
Oh, it's always the best.
We love a complicated queen. Said all of England in the medieval ages.
Or, just all of England, period, at any time.
Period. Yeah. This is my hate letter to England.
Don't let Damien hear this.
Oh. Yeah, he's in California.
That's fair.
Yeah, he left England, so he probably is fine with the hate. It's fine.
It's fine.
I hate two places more than anything in this world: England and New Jersey.
Well, I mean, that's just fair, because it's New Jersey. Come on.
I'm not getting into my reason for either, but yeah. But I mean, yeah, but basically, like going back into it, I mean, like she while knows a lot of stuff and knows a lot of things and has a general sense of what's going around in the office, there are some things that are just above her pay grade, which is $0.
Her pay grade is experience.
Oh, it's college credit, baby.
The College of UU, unknown university.
No, I go to general college name here. Yep.
Does the intern go to ITT Tech?
That's it. I need this for my IT degree.
She only goes to online colleges.
Hey. General rule of thumb, college is still college. It don't matter if it's in person, online, or trade school. Get an education if you want.
It also does make sense why the intern can have two jobs and go to school if she goes to online school.
Yeah. Working for the hourly wage.
Hourly wage of nothing.
Went to high school, didn't do great. Anybody who understands that reference, we can socialize at the water bubbler.
Well, I don't, so I guess I can't socialize anymore.
Well,
anyway, so Jade, what is Kayla's hope for how all of this turns out? Amy seems content to burn the place down. Alfred just wants to get his job done and go home, and Frankie probably wants to steal something way more important. What does Kayla hope to get out of all of this once it all is wrapped up?
I feel like Kayla just wants like a nice place to work. She likes her job and she wants things to go well. And all of this like unknown invasion stuff, she's kind of trying to put out of her head so that she can keep doing her job, but it's getting a little in the way now.
Kind of hard to put things in triplicate when you have to wonder if the woman from HR is going to suck out your soul or something.
Exactly. Like, there's an intern over there that no one knows her name. No one knows her name, and I'm not sure what's going on with Karen, so we're just trying our best.
And that's all that anyone can ask. So, Legacy, I have a question about the coffee. Was that something that came up with Scott when you developed this character with him, or was that just something that he came up with and you rolled with it?
What about the coffee?
About the coffee shop and the stealing the coffee makers. That way, it's always the intern that brings in the best coffee that people actually want.
Oh, funny story about how the coffee shop came to be. Scott hit me up pretty late at night, and was just like, "Hey, so how does the intern get the coffee?" And I was like, "Scott, I'm gonna come up with the most elaborate thing possible that I can think of at this ungodly hour." And without going into too much detail, because this might be something that they want to poke into later on, Legacy 3 a.m. caffeine withdrawal, just getting that 3 a.m. sip of Red Bull in, absolutely was just like, okay, here's this, and here's why all of the coffee specials are the names of people in the office. And it's not just the party, right? It's Karen's got a special, the Johns have a special, there are people who they haven't even interacted with who have specials on the board, like everybody, and it's like their perfect cup of coffee. And the reason is going to be so fun when it comes out.
Does Leroy have a special?
Leroy does have a special.
Probably just a mug full of dirt.
It's just ground up coffee in a mug with a little bit of water inside.
Or like a spoon, he just eats it.
Oh no.
Yummy. Metal.
Ooh, delicious rust.
You think Leroy drinks the rust coffee in the break room?
I'm not sure what Leroy does other than planting flowers and playing the organ.
I think
and getting dirt in the copier.
It's kind of canonized that no one's ever seen him eat or drink anything. So maybe he doesn't drink the coffee.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah, we're having fun with it.
I can imagine. Well, I think that it is time to get to spilling the tea. This section is going to be more freeform, with questions tailored to various what the fuck moments of the episode, controversies, rumors, hints of love interests, just general sorts of random questions from ourselves and from our chat. In this section, we also invite our guests to ask each other any pressing questions they may have, or to feel free to ask questions of myself or Cyan. And I believe Cyan has a question for Jade.
I do, yes. How did Kayla feel during her time away from the office and missing all of the different shenanigans?
I feel like she was kind of relieved, but also really missed it. She was just glad that she wasn't in all of the chaos, but then also she kind of felt bad for missing all of the chaos.
Like she didn't want to have anything to do with it, but then she's like, wait a minute, my friends are still back there having to deal with this shit. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's like the reverse of No Man Left Behind. Just the one guy got away.
She got out, but all of her friends didn't, so maybe she should go back and figure that out for them.
Possibly.
Kayla is the one that got away.
So, Legacy. Is the intern actually trying to be friends and be helpful with the party? Or is there possibly some other ulterior motive that is just more sinister? We know she knows her own powers and that she knows that the other people won't remember, but she keeps bringing up just like, you don't remember my name, and acting offended. Is there some purpose behind all that, or is that something that you can't really quite share too much about yet?
So, without saying too much, everybody in an office setting, whether you think that you're the good guy or you think that somebody else is the bad guy, serves for their own ulterior motives, even people within the party. I won't say whether or not the intern wants to make an enemy of the party or wants to help from behind the scenes. But she probably recognizes more than most of the other NPCs that, they're sitting here passing a lot of judgment when they themselves are unknown. There's not a sense of normalcy to these people either. So she's just kind of taking it all in, and whenever they don't realize that she's there or she makes herself known and they choose to ignore her anyway and still continue to talk, she makes a note. She's not necessarily a good nor a bad person. She's just there to do her job, to do what she's told to do, and that's whatever the fuck interns do.
I do agree that kind of one of my favorite parts about Chill is that there is kind of that question of where do you draw the line between unknown and a person with special abilities? All of the characters are kind of going over the line a little bit and you aren't sure where they're supposed to be.
Like, how far into the art does someone go before they become unknown themselves?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I mean, because for all they know, intern's just a regular person with the same abilities as them.
That's a good point. Different way to think about that.
It's very true.
I mean, and that's the thing. Unless somebody does a little bit more digging, they only slightly pass that check to figure out that she's not quite normal.
It's true. They almost failed it. They almost flubbed it.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, it fully depends. How do they perceive her? I mean, it's quite obvious that she's, she might be a little bit more special. But how much more? Everybody saw in the last episode that all of them are, quite frankly, very capable of doing some interesting things.
And that's the truth.
So, as for right now, I'm just a normal person doing what I'm here to do. Get my college credits, get that degree, go make bank, leave this joint, or stay and slowly fall into the paperwork of triplicate tax invoices.
That is an option, yeah. I have another question for you, though, Legacy. Is the intern and Karen working together, or are they just separate, unknown in the office, even though, as you said, are they really unknown?
I mean, the intern doesn't really work with Karen. She works, she, much like the rest of the office, kind of tends to avoid Karen whenever possible. That's why you never see the two of them in a scene together.
That makes sense.
Because even the unknown are but little ants under HR's thumbs.
Everyone fears HR. It's like fearing the IRS. It's just natural.
Everybody, even the Johns, fear Karen from HR.
Karen from HR is the most powerful person in this office.
And it's not even for the reason that you'd suspect.
It's just because she's in HR.
Yep.
She's just because she runs HR. That's all. That's all it takes.
All it is.
So I have another question for Jade. No filter, true honesty here. What does Kayla think about her group? With Frankie blowing up her phone, Amy wanting to burn the entire building down, Alfred constantly being grumpy and just wanting to get the hell out of there as soon as possible. What does Kayla really think about her little friend group?
Kayla is constantly very annoyed with like all of them, but she kind of sees them as like family almost. So she puts up with it, and like even though she acts like she gets so annoyed by Frankie's calls, she still sits there and listens to all the voicemails. Like even though she acts like she's getting annoyed by all of the things that Amy suggests, like she would probably go along with it if she had the chance. She just really like genuinely cares for these people that she's working with, and she wants them to think that she doesn't sometimes, but she really does.
Aw. Sort of a tangent question to that. Who gets on her nerves the most out of the group?
Definitely Frankie.
That makes sense.
100%. I feel like some days she can hardly stand Frankie, but then also she's somehow her favorite person on Earth.
The duality of the office worker.
That just sounds like a sister relationship in general.
Exactly.
Another question for Jade. Do you see Kayla surviving through the end of all of this craziness at the office with like the containment breaches and unknown all over the place?
I hope so. Kayla does seem like a very capable person. Like she's studied martial arts, and she is very good at like talking her way out of things. She doesn't really like getting violent or anything, but I think that she might be able to pull her way through, hopefully.
Just an important thing to consider, given the fact everything seems to be kicking off so hard. And the last episode ended with Alfred being knocked out by whatever trauma he just experienced on the phone.
I was like internally screaming so loudly whenever Alfred picked up the phone. I could not help it.
I have another question for Legacy. I know that you can't really get into too much about what the intern wants and what their goals are, or what have you, and that she doesn't seem to be good or evil, or just wants to do things on her own way. But does the intern actually want the group to be able to survive through all of this, or does she not care?
Genuinely, yes. If only because at this point she has found herself just like around them constantly, both with and without their knowing, that she's like, it almost like not like not protective of them by any stretch of the means, but like would be a little upset if they died, especially to like things that they can obviously are very obviously capable of handling on their own. Like listening in, and kind of like getting into her mindset. If any of them had fallen to those zombies, I think that she would have been like miffed. Because it's just like, you could have died to something a lot like cooler, and it's just this really. Did you guys just fight hags and goatmen like not too long ago, and you're gonna die to this?
If you're gonna die, it should be to, like, I don't know, maybe a cursed voicemail or something.
Yeah, come on.
So it's not even out of care, it's just being disappointed.
It's a little bit out of care too. Like I said, I mean, like in some capacity, she's got to care about their well-being, even if it's just like a little bit, because these are still people that like she does, for better or for worse, spend a lot of time around. And it's kind of like a you might not necessarily get along with your coworkers, but you'd be like at least the tiniest bit upset if like they had to leave or something bad happened to them. You'd at least feel like a little bit bad.
That's
if
fair.
anything, it's because you spend so much time with them that like you begin to get normalcy in being around these people 8 hours a day, 5 days a week.
Fair enough. Do either of you have any questions for one another, or perhaps questions for myself or Cyan?
Legacy, how does the intern take her coffee?
Ooh, that's a very good question.
Ooh, if any of them had actually took the time to read the board, and I'll give this one to y'all for free. She prefers hers in the form of a caramel macchiato with a slight bit extra caramel drizzle on the top, and oat milk instead of regular.
Very solid choice.
Mm-hmm. And my question for Kayla is, what is the Kayla special? What do they see on the wall when they see Kayla's name going into the coffee shop?
I feel like Kayla, like, she probably drinks her coffee black whenever she makes it for herself, but if she's going somewhere to, like, get fancy coffee, she's gonna get, like, a white chocolate latte or, like, something like that, something sweet and fancy and that she cannot make at home. I'm not entirely sure what she goes for every day, but I am guessing it's something very sweet.
Very nice. I'm gonna have a little board made up of all of the office workers' coffees and teas of choice for when and if you guys ever investigate the coffee shop again.
As you should.
Oh, of course. It'll just be added to my Pinterest board of despair.
Is there anything else that you want to, like, share about the intern that you haven't gotten the chance to yet?
Anything that you can share?
Funnily enough, I will share this. She probably feels more drawn to Kayla and Amy out of everybody else in the office. If for the reason of one seems like the most average, and one seems extra special. And that's as far as I'm gonna go with what I mean by that. but a lot of her research from what the cast was able to see of her notebook were just notes of like day-to-day operations with a slight focus on what what exactly it is that they do paperwork wise, or what is their actual roles when they're not on the field. So there's a little hint.
Spooky.
Mm-hmm. What, Jade? This is a question for you. Out of all the SPCs or NPCs, both ones who are played and ones who aren't, who would you say, other than the intern, of course, is your favorite side character that you've seen or heard of so far?
I love Leroy. He's just a guy.
He's
a
just a
really
guy.
weird,
It's just a
strange
silly
guy.
dude.
Yeah, he's just a guy.
He's just
And
a little guy.
I love how much Alfred hates him. It's very fun.
Completely misplaced hate, thinking he's a zombie, but he's just a dude.
Exactly. You know, there are zombies in the office building, but Leroy's not one of them.
Yeah,
Leroy's,
as we've seen.
Leroy's just a fun little guy.
Exactly.
I think Alfred's just jealous.
Yeah, I think so too. He's jealous of Leroy and Dirk.
Well,
No one-
okay, let's
Dirk
not
from
get carried
accounting
away.
is the worst, though.
Yeah, Dirk sucks.
Yeah, does Dirk suck?
Dirk is awful. Everyone hates Dirk.
Little do we know, Dirk is just a dude. He's just a guy.
You know, he might be just a guy, but he's a very annoying guy.
Hmm.
I get the feeling Dirk's just like Flanders.
Well, howdily
Yeah.
doodly, coworkers.
Scott, take notes. Howdily doodly, neighbor Runo. He says, poking over Alfred's desk.
I really hope we get to see Dirk later on. I really want him just actually be decent. And everyone despises him.
Yeah. He's just an actual genuine guy.
I imagine him just being introduced by like, hey, you got like this one little slip up on your paperwork. Can you fix this real quick? And then I'll head back upstairs. That's it.
Hey, can you fix this real quick? Fucking Dirk.
Get out of here, Dirk.
Okay. You know Karen, she's gonna want that in triplicate.
Everything needs to be in triplicate. Every day.
Every single day.
Is the intern's notebook in triplicate?
Obviously. Karen will have it no other way. I feel like she's gotten in trouble at least 3 times, especially after she refused to participate in Flip Flop Friday.
Can't believe you skipped out on Flip Flop Friday. Ignore the fact that Kayla also skipped out on Flip Flop Friday.
Flip Flop Friday. I don't get paid enough to participate in Flip Flop Friday.
You don't get paid.
Exactly. Feeling called out, left out, gaslight, gatekept, and girl boss all at once.
All by Karen.
All by Karen. I'm gonna get a strongly worded letter from BP later on. It's just her telling me to stop telling people that she girl bosses me.
That message will be sent in triplicate.
Absolutely.
And triplicate. Gosh darn it. Sorry, after it on peeps. if you want to hear the full unfiltered thing that I was going to say, you got to be in the $10 tier.
Well, I am all out of questions. Do you have any other questions, Cyan?
Fresh out, just like this coffee.
Unfortunate. I actually have. Well, it's not a question directly for our guests, but do either of you perhaps have any questions for the rest of the group, or for Becker or Karen for future episodes?
I just kind of want to know why Karen is the way she is. Like, not a genuine question, but she's just a lot.
Who hurt you, Karen?
Probably Dirk.
God damn it, Dirk.
Dirk.
It's always Dirk's fault.
It's never not Dirk.
And I've got one final question.
Ooh.
What is Kayla going to do after all of this? You know, like, what are her long-term plans for the future after everything is said and done?
Really, she just wants a job that she likes. I feel like she's gonna try and stay at save if they're able to get rid of the unknown invaders. If not, she'll probably just quit, like, work at an auditing firm somewhere. Just try and find something that she likes to do.
Fair.
It's a very wholesome and mundane goal for someone who deals with so much crazy shit.
Kayla is a very wholesome and mundane person for someone who deals with so much crazy shit.
That's fair enough. Yeah. Alrighty, well, I believe that is our cups gone, and now someone has to come over here and clean up this tea. Probably going to be Leroy. Or Roger, if he's done singing in the bathroom.
He's never done singing in the bathroom.
Never done. Thank you all for listening. These episodes are dropped Thursdays at noon for the $5 plus tier on the Patreon. They're released to the public 1 month later. So think about subscribing so you can be up to date with your talk news for Hallowed Haven Studios. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.